Friends, good evening. Welcome everyone to our pre-chamber lecture series. Tonight we have a lecture that is titled The Therapeutics of Relaxation. Wow. I mean, isn't it like one of our biggest dreams as we become adults to have the opportunity to be able to sit down and relax, to take a nap, to go to bed early? Oh, look, the therapeutics of relaxation are there as an encouragement for us as we decidedly initiate this internal revolution of the consciousness. It is there for us to make use of it so that we do not give ourselves to the constant daydreaming. For the most part, people are so exhausted, extenuated during the day that when they need a moment to relax, what we have come to take us a moment of relaxation is to isolate ourselves from the general population and sit ourselves in a corner and be able to grab our little mobile device and just focus on our fantasies, on those micro distractions, on hundreds, if not thousands of micro videos that today appear as they used to be vines. Well, today there are other things. If we have an opportunity to disconnect, to be able to come back onto ourselves, if we give that moment to the desires of the ego and we doze off in fantasies or we lose ourselves within the magic of technology, then it is an opportunity that is lost. But what if I told you that you could enjoy of the very same relaxation, that you can enjoy of the very same blue time, and at the same time empower the consciousness to be able to trace back what has happened, what transcribed within your mind, within your heart, within your body, and be able to pinpoint and identify those defects that you can work to comprehend and eliminate so that you can become more conscious. This is what the therapeutics of rest does for us. And everything is set on the foundation of know yourself. Gnoce te ipsum. In that temple of Delphi, Thales de Miletus, he's the one who wrote, Gnoce te ipsum. There's a very deep meaning behind that, man. Know yourself and you will know the universe and the gods. But what is this know yourself? Well, the therapeutics of rest will give you an opportunity to be able to look at how your thoughts are flowing. It will allow you to see, not by an intellectual exercise that is comparing and looking for things, because that is mentally taxing, that is mentally extenuating. No, by empowering the consciousness to be able to see the flow of emotions that have transcribed, how is it that your vitality has been spent? And this is something that is of tremendous value. Because when we empower the consciousness and the consciousness becomes active and operates, the consciousness makes use of the feminine faculties, attributes of the mind. Because the mind is meant to be receptive. The mind is meant to be constantly receiving. But because that hermetic principle of gender applies everywhere in creation, when it comes to the realm that is called the mental plane, the sphere of Netzah in the tree of life, well, the mind is also masculine and feminine. There, well, as part of that aspect of the mind that is masculine and feminine, we can say, yes, the mind is masculine because it projects thought. I can see that. We can say, yes, the mind is feminine because it allows me to receive, sometimes intuits from the animals to be able to perceive the thoughts, the ideas. Yes, that is also true. But I also want you to understand that in terms of masculine and feminine principles of the mind, the feminine aspect of the mind is very peculiar. From the perspective of the Hermetic science, in Hermetism they speak of I as the innermost, as the human soul of the innermost, which is a little fraction that we have incarnated. And it speaks of me as the ego. It is good that we understand this slight difference. We are certainly not stating anything against that teaching of Samael Aun Weor that says that the superior I and the inferior I are both parts of the same thing, the ego. Yes, that is very true. But we're speaking here of gender. And that masculine aspect of the mind is capable of enabling circumstances, creations, when the innermost is operating through us. The feminine aspect of the mind, well, it can be heavily influenced. Imagine what happens in the feminine aspect of the mind when someone is susceptible to being hypnotized. There are implants, there are seeds that are planted there that can have many nefarious consequences. What about people who are vulnerable to suggestions? Certainly, that all affects. And that feminine aspect of the mind, because it can receive, well, it has artificially created this polarization within itself where one aspect projects and one aspect is the one receiving. And when we open ourselves to the ego, and the ego is incorrectly receiving information and translating it in ways that are just incorrect, wow, that feminine aspect of the mind starts taking of those inputs from the ego and starts enabling creations and projections that are the defects themselves. Mental effigies that all manifest within the realm of the mind. So there is tremendous value behind the therapeutics of rest. There is a tremendous value behind calming down, calming the mind, empowering the consciousness so that the innermost can officiate. It's tremendous. So the mind should always resemble a calm lake. How calm? Imagine a lake that in a starry night, you see no disturbances on the surface, but rather the reflection of the infinite cosmos. That calm. How do we do that? How can we get there? Well, we can always start with a comfortable posture. I mean, there is an effect to not being relaxed. If you are always stressed out, well, remember, we have said this many times, the brain does not know the difference between what is out there and what is in here. And if you're stressed, that brain is going to be reacting constantly to those impulses of stress. And there's going to be hormones associated to stress like cortisol. And suddenly, well, you start seeing effects on your insulin receptors. And suddenly you start suffering of many ailments, conditions that are all part of a chronic state of stress. So there's an effect to not relaxing. Ideally, you will be able to relax your body. And we have done those practices every week in our Gnostic lab. Hopefully, if you haven't participated, you will join us. But we will start by relaxing the body. But I want you to think this. This is not relaxing the body as if this were one more thing that you have to get done today. No. I don't want you to think that this is more that you must add to your daily to-do list. No, we are all busy enough. I want to encourage you to think relaxation of the body as a natural state of the body. Imagine yourself in a celebration, and in that celebration you can flow through it, being relaxed, receptive, perceiving. Wow. Imagine yourself going through a crucial conversation, whether it is with your spouse, with your parents, with your children, crucial conversation at work, and you navigating through that environment relaxed, perceiving, receptive. Imagine a situation where somebody comes next to you in the supermarket and they yell at you and they get aggressive. Well, relaxation as well. And even though the person may be aggressive and they may be spewing fire and smoke out of their ears, well, you can be relaxed. You can be there perceiving. You can see aspects of you reflected on that. That is amazing. So I want you to think in terms of relaxation of the body in a way that is natural, a way that is consistent. As we're starting to do this, well, you will find moments in the day where you can enjoy the therapeutics of rest. So how do you assume a comfortable posture? Well, you have the opportunity of crossing your legs and sitting in the lotus posture. Not everybody is flexible enough to be able to cross their legs and sit up straight and be there comfortably. Not everybody can do that. We understand that. Samael knows that. So you can sit comfortably on a chair with your feet flat on the floor, with your back straight, and as you allow your hands to rest comfortably on your thighs, suddenly as you exhale, you allow your body just to sink a little deeper onto the chair. Before you realize, you start gaining good physical body relaxation. You can also rest on your back. If you rest on your back, see yourself resting on your back, allow your arms to rest alongside the body. Bring your heels together and let your feet naturally fan open. And in that posture, that is known as the corpse's posture, well, as you breathe and you exhale, allow your body just to sink a little deeper onto that mattress, a little deeper onto that surface. And you will see that you start relaxing as well. But you also have the option of assuming the shape of a 5-pointed star. And when you do that, you're resting on your back, you spread your legs just a little bit, perhaps a little wider than hip width apart. You stretch your arms to the side, and in that posture, well, as you exhale, you allow your body just to sink a little deeper onto that surface. And the 5-pointed star posture is phenomenal. Because when you align yourself with your head towards the north, whether in the corpse posture or in the posture of the 5-pointed star, you allow those magnetic currents of the earth just to flow through your body. In a way, you align yourself to the north just like the humble compass does. But in the shape of a 5-pointed star, if there are tenebrous entities, the moment that they see that posture, they just don't come close. So here you have 4 different postures that you can assume and enjoy comfortably. Now, when you sit down, you want to make sure that you minimize the impressions. If there is something that is too hot, and, for example, your arm is getting all sweaty and sticky, that is usually very distracting. If it is too cold, the same thing. If there is a light, if there's music, if there's a TV going, every time that happens, well, that's a distraction. So you want to at least close your eyes. At least close your eyes. We have a good friend. We saw him meditating the other day. He was wearing earmuffs. Not noise-canceling earmuffs, but, well, in a way, yes. Noise-canceling earmuffs like the ones that people who work at an airport tarmac, they would be using. And with that, he isolates himself from all the noises in the environment. We have seen other students that have those very comfortable masks for the eyes, the ones that they use when you go to sleep. And they would wear that just to block any light, to block any distractions. And some others that we have seen them use both. Wow, that is amazing. So here you have 5 postures. And always remember, look for a way to minimize those impressions. Now, how is it that once you get into that posture, how do you relax your physical body? Well, Samael tells us, harmoniously combine or bring together in vibrant harmony your willpower and your creative imagination. Creative imagination is the same thing as clairvoyance. Samael says everybody is more or less imaginative, just like everybody is more or less clairvoyant. So bring your willpower and your objective imagination together. I mean, when you use that objective imagination and we tell you as you exhale, allow that body just to sink a little deeper on that chair. As you combine that willpower and that imagination, you sit, and when you exhale, you can actually feel yourself sinking a little bit on your chair. Same thing will happen with your bed. But there's more that you can do than just that. There's a practice that we have done many times before in our Gnostic life that is called the practice of the gnomes. And in the practice of the gnomes, we invite you to imagine that your body is populated by an infinite amount of little gnomes. And you allow those little gnomes to escape your body out through your feet. And if you were to entertain this exercise for a second, just sit there comfortably. I mean, keep your spine straight, just allow your hands to rest. Take a deep breath in 1. Exhale in 2. 2. And imagine now your body is populated by an infinite amount of little gnomes. See those gnomes leaving your body out through your feet. And as they start walking out, you feel that relaxation going from your toes to your heels, your ankles, your shins, your calves, your knees. Stop it right there. Can you feel that gentle vibration that comes with the sensation of relaxation? Can you feel that softness that is so typical of a very deep, relaxed state? As you continue with this practice, eventually you bring all of that relaxation throughout all of your body. And your body vibrates with that sense of relaxation. In reality, there are many, many things that you can do to relax the body. Those many other things, not of our immediate concern. Combine your willpower and your objective imagination. And once you relax the body, what will naturally happen is that the emotional center will also start relaxing. But we need to also relax the mind. And sometimes relaxing the mind can be a little challenging because there are many thoughts. These are not random thoughts. Perhaps we have expressed ourselves using the word random, but let's make it very clear. In creation, there is no random. Things don't just happen by chance. The Hermetic science states that what man refers to as chance is the manifestation of a law that has not been understood yet. So there's really no random. There is a cause behind those thoughts. And the cause is that there are thinkers in their egos that are all manifesting under the level of detection of the intellect. These are egos that exist within the subconscious mind. So how can we help relax the mind? Well, we can use words of power. And there are many mantras that you can use. Many mantras. But we're going to share with you 4 exceedingly powerful mantras. The first mantra is Pander. And when you sing the mantra Pander, you are invoking the Father of your innermost, the real being, what is known as the Glorian. Invoking the Father of your Father is the equivalent, based on the principle of correspondence, of you being a child who is calling for your grandparent to come and help you. Invoking the real being is phenomenal. And the mantra is the mantra Pander. Split it in 2 syllables. Pander. Pander. There's also the mantra Gate. Not gate, Gate. And Gate is a Sanskrit word that means liberation. Samael sings the mantra Gate in a very peculiar form. He sings Gate Gate. The next mantra is Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Swaha. Wow, that is a long mantra. But this mantra means liberation, liberation, liberation to the other side of the river, all of humanity. Liberation, illumination, Alleluia. Mantra sounds Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasangate, Bodhi Swaha. And last is the mantra Om Masi Padme Hum. Om Masi Padme Hum. This last mantra means, "O God in me." Now, singing mantras can at first be a little stressful. I mean, some people sing them and they're thinking, my wife is going to hear, or my husband is going to hear, or somebody's going to hear, they're going to laugh. There are many, many forces of the ego that come into play just to create resistance. So these are mantras that you can sing with your silent word. As you breathe in and as you exhale, you sing the mantra, and you allow that mantra to resonate within that universe of the mind. And as you synchronize your breathing with the singing of the mantra, and you are relaxing your body, it can be 10 minutes, 20 minutes that you are breathing, relaxing, singing mantras. Suddenly you find yourself in an internal state of tremendous reception. But what if the mind is still rebelling? Well, then we can share with you here a koan. A koan is an enigmatic phrase. Think of a koan like a higher horsepower, complexity statement that will bring the mind to a stop. Because the koan is a very enigmatic phrase that the intellect is not going to know how to handle. I mean, there are koans where the question that is posed to the mind is, what was your first face? Questions like, if you give your flesh to your mother and your bones to your father, where are you? Statements like, it's not the mind, it's not the Buddha, it is nothing. When you bring a koan like that, and continually, not continuously, continually, you recite that koan, the moment that you notice that the mind is starting to get a little uneasy, boom, that koan, suddenly the mind stops thinking. Eventually the mind surrenders. And when that happens, by now you have achieved a very deep state of physical relaxation. Your emotional center is also calmed down, and now your mind is calmed down. How can you even help yourself beyond that? By relaxing your mind, listening to classical music. There are some beautiful symphonies of Bach, beautiful compositions of Mozart that you can play, and allow them to play in the background, so that if you are perceiving those auditory impressions, what you're receiving is something that nourishes the superior emotional center. And as you're listening to that music, allow yourself to be moved by devotion. Because behind this music, that crystallized music of the spheres here in this plane of the dense substance. As you bring in your devotion, wow, you get lost in the melodies, in the partillas, and soon enough, your mind is very relaxed. As you open your doors of devotion, the life experience has shown that sometimes we open our doors of devotion blindly. We may put a lot of faith or a lot of trust into certain things to later on be betrayed. So when you open your doors of devotion, invoke of your Divine Mother. Ask of your Divine Mother to bring about the Hermetic seal. To seal, to close all the doors within you to any negative emotions, to any negative thoughts. And when it comes to devotion, to let it be your own Divine Mother, the one who opens those doors of devotion, so that the consciousness may enrich itself. Okay, so you relaxed your body. Your emotional center is relaxed. Your mind is calm, receptive. So as part of this, where is the effort? All we have to do is sit down. All we have to do is just lay on our back. Don't throw yourself there just to drift off and just fall asleep and snore and do all the things that you do when you are just having all these dreams. Just do it with a good purpose. Because once your mind has relaxed, once you have left that body there, empower the consciousness and pray. Prayer it's a conversation. Some people say it's a conversation with God. It is a conversation with your innermost, with your Father who is in secret. Conversation with your Divine Mother. And make that conversation one that is of a scientific nature. You can use that moment to express your gratitude and your gratefulness for the day. You can also ask your Father to contribute into your daily doing. You can offer yourself as an instrument to your innermost so that everywhere you go, whatever you do, every smile that you offer, that it is an expression of your divine being for the benefit of others, so that it may help alleviate the suffering of others. That is a beautiful thing. You can ask of your innermost to show you the causes, your Divine Mother to allow you to perceive the circumstances intuitively so that you don't have to be reasoning and wondering why things happen. So you can just perceive with the faculties of the consciousness. And as you are praying in this way, as you ask of your innermost to be the one who officiates, allow yourself to do a retrospection. This is not complicated. If you have an opportunity to do some of this blue time at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, well, at that moment you can do a retrospection of how is it that you got there? What things have you done during the day? And go from that moment backwards until the moment that you woke up in the morning. Samael says that we must do retrospection. We benefit from retrospection because it is the one way in which we become truly conscious of what we have done. How often do people not leave their house? They push the button, the car, to close the garage, and less than 20 seconds later, they're wondering, did I close the garage? And they have to come back and go look. How many laughs have we all not shared looking at these little videos where somebody walks out of the house and their friend from their home, they text them with a picture of their phone telling them, you left your phone on the table. The person has their phone. They're out there. They receive the text message. They see the old picture of their phone on the table. They come back. They look for the phone. They don't find it. They're angry. And the phone is in their hand. You see, that is the kind of sleep of consciousness that we live today. So think how wonderful it would be as you give yourself an opportunity to look back into your day, but to do it purposefully, so that you can see those moments where you absolutely forgot about yourself. You can see those moments where you identified with the circumstances, where you received impressions that were not transformed, moments where you reacted, where you had an option, and yet you did not take it. You see? This is how we become conscious of our actions during the day. This is how we can break away with daydreaming. And as you're doing that retrospection, the key is serene observation, complete relaxation, and perceiving. You will see things exactly as they happen. Don't judge them. Don't justify them. Don't defend them. Don't hide them. No. Those are all reactions, and they are violent reactions of the mind. No, serene observation. You're there, perceiving. You're there, discovering. And every observation gives you a deeper level of comprehension. Suddenly, you're doing a retrospection and you see that moment where you identified with that beautiful body of that other person. Suddenly, you were daydreaming. Whoa. As you come back, you can observe. You can see your thoughts, your emotions, your behavior. You can clearly see how is it that you completely forgot about yourself. And suddenly you start noticing from where that defect of lust projects itself. Could be an emotional type of lust. Could be a physical type of lust. It could be an intellectual type of lust. You see? And as you start gaining that degree of comprehension, always ask your Divine Mother to help you bring clarity, to help you truly see. And soon enough, you will start noticing where else is it that you have done that? When else is it that you allow that to take place? And just in the faculty of perception of the consciousness, suddenly you can see 5, 10, 20 instances in which you have done this, and you realize, I have always been doing this. This degree of comprehension is important, but we must invoke the help of our Divine Mother. You can ask your Divine Mother to show you everywhere. Well, this has happened before. Suddenly you start getting an understanding from all different perspectives. But know this. Samael makes it very clear by saying every defect requires more than one meditation. This is not, oh yeah, I saw it. Oh yeah, it was lost. Divine Mother, get rid of that. Turn it to cosmic dust. Done. It doesn't really work like that. Samael says comprehension is as deep as the level of being. The more you empower the consciousness to perceive, the more willpower, objective imagination you allow to manifest, the more clarity you bring into this. And of course, as you start doing this at first, there's going to be 1 or 2 events that stick out in your day like sore thumbs. And at first, it's going to be really easy. And the purpose of that is not only just to get you acquainted with the practice and enable you, but also to help you build faith. Because faith is just that experiential knowledge. Faith is that ability of you to attest of something because you have experienced it. And the more you do this, the more receptive you will become. And the more manifestations of the ego will become available to you, and the consciousness will perceive them each time in greater depth. And every time then that you receive and you perceive one of those, rather than plowing through the whole retrospection, you will methodically stop the exercise. Allow the consciousness to perceive even further and evaluate that particular defect. Friends, eventually you will come to realize that you will have to bring to an end, actually you will do it naturally, bring to an end the consideration of you yourself being good people. I mean, Suddenly, you will start being able to see things that you're doing today that you think are useful. They're the way that they should be. People applaud them. They encourage you. You keep doing them. To then realize that you were mistaken. Not too long ago, one student, doesn't matter from which group, she shares with us how is it that her husband was unfaithful to her. How is it that adultery took place and eventually they got divorced? But it took her many years to come and realize that as that man was growing, his grandparents, his parents, being from some Latin culture, they were encouraging having many girlfriends and encouraging behaviors. And that man was completely oblivious to the mistakes that he was exercising, to the suffering that he was bringing to others. So we have to even look at our most naive moments, at those things that people applaud and encourage us to do. We really have to question, is this edifying? Is this essentially dignifying your relationships with your friends? When you're alone, when you're hungry, when you're thirsty? You must look at it from all those perspectives. But remember, we speak to the consciousness. The consciousness must be fully empowered so that it can truly perceive. And soon enough, you will see from where these defects are coming. Some of them project themselves from the intellect, and others from the emotion, and others from a sexual center. Many others are instinctive. Many of them are just pure habits. And as you see these egos, you will notice from where is it that they are deriving their energy. They will always be draining your sexual creative center, but they also take some nourishment. Because every ego has a source of nourishment. You can starve the ego by transforming impressions. I mean, if there are egos of lust that have as nourishment the eyesight for all of those visual images, the sense of hearing for all of those noises, if you can transform the impression, just like Master Samael says, at the point of entry, and you can transform the impression of those images when they come along, suddenly those images no longer have any force over you. When you realize that those pornographic images are just dramas, they are make-believe, that they are people that grow old, and just like us who are getting old, we get wrinkled and saggy, etc. Well, eventually all the allure goes away. The image gets adequately transformed. All those sounds, and you realize that that is all part of a script, that is all make-believe, that none of that is true, that those are exaggerations, that is not even close to reality. Suddenly you see the farce behind it. Everything falls on its knees, defeated. So we have to understand what is the source of nourishment of the ego. Whether it is greed or envy or lust or anger or laziness or gluttony or pride, etc. We must find what are the sources. And as you keep getting better at this, suddenly you will start noticing what are the transactions of your ego. I mean, suddenly you start seeing how is it that they are predictable patterns in which there are egos, aggregates that could be associated to pride. The moment that pride gets hurt, there is an anger that immediately comes and follows. And soon after that anger follows and it creates a destruction that it does, there are aspects of self-love and self-consideration that come and take ownership of the human machine, and they feel hurt and defeated. And as they move away, there are aspects of even darker, heavier emotions like depressions and propitiations, and before you realize, you see the sequence. We have to understand what these transactions are. We have to learn about the structure. I mean, in terms of the structure, We have a good example here on the screen. Look at the way that the ego sets and positions itself to assume ownership of the human machine when the consciousness is trying to observe. Because remember, the ego is very skillful when it comes to deceit. So there will be, for example, an aspect of you, let's say that it's just an aspect of pride. Pride that it has also connections with gluttony and other things, right? And as part of that pride, you look at yourself in the mirror and there are some vanities and self-considerations, desires, etc. You say, these love handles. We must do something with them. I really need to make a change in my diet. And suddenly we are very decided and we go out there, but those egos remain always lingering right immediately under the threshold of detection of the intellect. So suddenly there are impressions that come to you. It could be the sight of a beautiful cheesecake. It could be a delicious creme brulee. And when you see it, when you smell it, suddenly you go like, there it is. So what do those aggregates of gluttony say? Say, I really haven't had one of those in a long time. Let's just have a little bite. A little bite is not going to kill me. So then you grab your fork and you take a little bite. And then as you're enjoying it, now you have had impressions that go through your sight, through your smell. Now it is overwhelming your sense of taste. The sense of touch is also perceiving, and you feel all of that creaminess and that deliciousness, you see? And as you're doing that, well, now you're observing the plate and it's a little deformed. So you keep just shaving a little here and there with the fork so that it looks like really well cut, right? And then you say, it's not like I'm going to eat the whole thing. It's not like I do this every day. But then you take another bite. And by the time you realize it's almost gone, and then you say, you know what? I've almost ate it. The harm is already done. Let me just finish it. And then you eat it and then you regret it. These are the structures, the transactions of the ego. And we must make an effort to empower the consciousness to perceive. There must be a logical confrontation. When we're saying confrontation, please do not think in terms of quarrels, of fights, of conflicts, in terms of violence. No. We're saying confrontation from the perspective of simply being there and perceiving. Logical confrontation that belongs to the consciousness, not to the comparative processes of the mind. When that logical confrontation exists, when that intuitive faculty of the consciousness to understand, to comprehend the cosmic truths is manifest, that takes you to what is known as the evident self-reflection of the being. What we're doing with this exercise is that we are empowering the consciousness to perceive the consequences of its own creations. I mean, we have to do it now. If we don't do it now, by the time that the physical body dies and we go through the three judgments, remember, the first two judgments are life in a retrospection presented to the consciousness, and one fast and one slow, so that the consciousness can perceive everything exactly the way that it happened. We might as well do it now, not wait until it's too late. As a matter of fact, descending into the realms of hell when that happens after we consume all the lives without doing any type of spiritual work, well, that is also for the consciousness to experience the consequences of its own creations. And that particularly happens in the fifth sphere, sphere that is associated to violence, in which the creations of the consciousness chase each other in a state of tremendous violence and also tremendous fear. So rather than allow the catabolic forces of nature to do it for us, or to just wait for the great law to do it for us at the time of death, we might as well do it now and make an effort for doing it consciously. Now, look that there is an element of judgment. And because what you have been doing is either sitting down comfortably or resting on your back, with your body relaxed, with your mind calm, listening to that classical music. As you have seen these things, as you have empowered your consciousness to perceive, the consciousness has to perceive it in such a way where there is an internal cognition, a clear understanding on why is it that this creation brings very limited or no value at all. That is a capacity of comprehension that you have developed and that you have experienced thousands of times in your life. I mean, you may not be the type of person that walks into the kitchen and deliberately puts their hand on the hot stove to get burnt. You don't do it. You know that that is problematic. It is dangerous, conflictive. It brings pain, suffering, misery. So you don't burn your hand deliberately. Just like when you're outside or when you're pulling lemons from your lemon tree, well, you are very careful to not get those thorns pricking you because it's very painful. So you deliberately know that it is not a fruitful thing, that it does not contribute, that it hinders the progress. And that is the type of cognition that this judgment requires. I mean, you can see your lust, and you can see aspects of your lust 10, 15, or 1,000 times. But if that cognition has not happened, you will continue repeating the same mistakes. There is a lesson that you have not learned yet. And the only way to learn it is by truly comprehending the harm that these defects create to you, to those around you. We must understand the damages that come to others and to us. And once you have this degree of understanding, well, it is then that you also invoke your Divine Mother. Some people say, this defect, I'm going to write it down and I'm going to burn the paper. And that is a nice action. I mean, we have to start somewhere. But that is an exercise of the mind. The mind cannot destroy the ego because the ego is a product of the mind itself. And the ego has its own mind. So we need a power that is superior to the mind. That is the power of our Divine Mother, Kundalini. And you can invoke your Divine Mother in any way that you want. And as you are there relaxed and perceiving, in a vision, you will be able to see how your Divine Mother intervenes. How is it that she can take this defect, and how is it that she can take all of that you have comprehended and turn it into a cosmic dust? The first few times that you do this, you will notice and you will perceive as if literally a weight were being taken off of your shoulders. You'll feel lighter. You will not even believe it at first. But that is not going to last. That is an experience that you are allowed to experience, to receive, so that you can develop the faith that is necessary, understanding that these things really get eliminated, that the consciousness is truly becoming freer, so that you can continue moving forward. Death of the ego, or superior to the mind. And once you're done with this, after your 30 minutes, your 40 minutes that you can dedicate to this activity, take a deep breath. Cross your hands on your chest, the right one always over the left. Show your gratitude and your gratefulness. Give thanks to your Divine Father for officiating in the practice, for contributing, for guiding you, to your Divine Mother, for allowing you to perceive, for her interaction, for her work helping you bring that defect, turn it into a cosmic dust, freeing up that consciousness. And full of that joy, full of that happiness, that great satisfaction, just get up. Go about your day. Smile big. Allow the expression of the innermost to be through you. And bring just joy and happiness to everyone around you. Dear friends, we were able to source the material for this lecture from Samael's works. from his book, The Revolution of the Dialectic, and from his book, The Introduction to Gnosis. And as always, we're very grateful to all those sources who, thanks to them, we were able to glue this material together so that we could share it with you. Friends, this has been The Therapeutics of Relaxation, or what is known in the lecture as Blue Time. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us this evening. May all beings be happy.